Well, hello and welcome to Wouldn't Watch Don't Need, and today's video is a thank you video for the 1000 subscribers, which is a goal that the channel has recently reached. I am really thankful to all of you for subscribing, for watching, for commenting. You really are awesome, and I have enjoyed a lot exchanging messages or having watch related or knife related dialogues in the comment section. Now, today's video is going to be unedited, totally unedited, and it's a video that I have been wanting to make for quite a long time, and it's more of a philosophical video, if I can abuse of the word philosophical. I actually have one of my best friends is actually a philosophy professor at the university, and he would be horrified by my use of the word philosophical, but you understand what I mean when I tell you that this video is going to be more about, reflections or philosophical reflections than an actual unboxing or review of a watch or of a knife. So I came up with the title for this video a long time ago. Actually, I had the title in mind. I didn't know exactly what to say in the video. And the title was, Are These Your Cigarettes Too? Or your cigarettes, depending on where you put the accent on the word. And I have been thinking a lot about this obsession / addiction that I have, and many of you probably watching have, with watches. And being so obsessed, so to say, or having your attention occupied this much by a particular object as is the watch, the wristwatch, to me sounds like a not very sane occupation of your time or my time. These things that I have, these are all affordable watches, all the watches that you can see here. I don't think that there's any one of these that goes above the 200 euro marks, namely that one, the Golden General, I think was around 200 euros, but I bought it used as new, and maybe this one was over 150, something like that, when new, but I bought this used as well. So yeah, I was saying I am spending way too much money, even though it's not a lot of money, on these things. And let's face it, buying too much of any object is wrong, because let's face it, once again, we all need probably 3 watches, one for smarter, more elegant occasions, one, for more sporty occasion, and a third one, I don't know for when the other two do not work. But still, I have here many of my watches. I am showing just digitals, but I could talk about mechanical as well. And we have too many of them. At least I do have too many of them. I have way more than 3, as you can see. And these things cost money that could be better spent for more useful things, such as, I don't know, books or charity. Why not? They could have given all the money, which is not a lot, but still, it's quite an amount of money to the charities, and poor, really needy people could have benefited from the money that instead I spent on watches. Or I could have bought something useful for, I don't know, sports equipment for myself. Sport is a healthy thing, a healthy habit, whereas collecting or amassing watches is more like a filthy habit, like people refer to as when they talk about smoking. And that is why I am thinking, are these your cigarettes? What can justify, if anything can, the uncontrolled amassing of watches, of objects that we have in really too high quantity, and that we could do better. We could have our houses more tidy without all these watches hanging around in boxes or drawers or on countertops. To me, it happens a lot. And the question is a question that I ask to you, my viewers. This one, the battery has ceased working. I must substitute the battery. So here, once again, if we have to substitute all the batteries to our digital watches, then batteries are harmful waste items. The boxes of the watches which I keep in turn will become waste, and it's not good to produce too much waste. So I'm asking you, my friends, watch lovers and knife lovers, I might make another similar video regarding knives. What is that can justify our amassing of these watches? And that is the reason why I have decided to call my... This is a fake Rolex. Don't you think that I have 1/10 of the money that takes to buy one of these new Rolex Milgaus? Well, cool. What is that can justify our amassing of not useless per se, but useless in great quantity objects? Is there a reason? And then I will tell you why I think that I am amassing these things. What is the pleasure that, like the pleasure that people who smoke tell me nicotine gives them? What is the pleasure, the analogous pleasure that I receive when playing with my watches, and that keeps me buying them or amassing them, even if they're given to me, despite me knowing that, well, it's not that of a healthy thing. And you tell me in the comments what is your excuse for amassing watches, and I will tell you now my excuse. And my excuse is that watches, just like knives, they give me a pleasure that I cannot explain, but that I can date back to my childhood. When I was a child, those were the 80s, and I remember seeing Casios on the wrists of older friends or adults and wanting those watches because I thought that they were, I don't know, some pieces of special equipment that could allow me to do, I don't know, whatever, magical adventures, to embark on magical journeys where I would transform in some character from an action movie or something like that. And this watch in particular, not this one, but a similar model from the 80s, of which this is a rerun, so to say, a more modern rendition. This watch in particular, I have been fortunate to own it for a few hours, and I made a video about that, and I felt great having this watch on my wrist, even though back then I had an even smaller wrist than I have now. The G-Shock Square, the one from the 80s. How magical is that? But also analog watches, mechanical watches that I used to see advertised, well, maybe not these in particular, but used to see advertised on the back covers of Time magazine or of National Geographic that my father used to read. These objects, despite me at the time maybe not even being able to read the time on an analog display, these objects gave to me some kind of a magic feeling, a magic sensation, that like a tactile, not only a visual, but also a tactile, and also a hearing pleasure when you put your ear close to the mechanical watch and you hear it clicking, that I cannot describe, but really they kind of make me feel that I'm something different. It's more or less the dimension of playing. When children play, they really imagine and they really immerse themselves in a different reality, which becomes their real reality in that moment. And I think that watches give me this. So the pleasure that maybe a smoker can receive from nicotine, or a drinker from alcohol from the glass, maybe we, if you're anything like me, we get it from a watch. And has it ever happened to you that you have a look at your wrist, not to check the time, but just to look at your watch, and then you have to watch it again because you have not actually paid attention to the time, but you were just looking at your watch? This happens to me all the time. Yeah, it's like that. Please tell me in the comments if the pleasure that I get from touching watches, looking at watches, playing with watches and knives is the same that you get, or if you think there's any other reason. Here, this is a knife that I've used a few hours ago to prepare a sandwich and to cut a muffin, so there's some food dirt, but the pleasure, in fact, it doesn't snap. Here, it doesn't snap. It's dirty and I will clean it. But the pleasure that I get from looking at a knife, using a knife, or looking at a watch, using a watch, is something special that I think I share in part with you, my viewers. And I thank you for subscribing and watching my videos. And I encourage you to write your opinions in the comment section. That's it for today. Thanks again, and I'll see you on the next of Hurang What You Don't Need. Ciao.